Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Yes, Sokolowski has returned from Gotham. It's the last day of May.
Oh, it's May.
It's May, the lusty month of May.
When everyone is
yesterday. It's time
to do a wretched thing or two and try to make each live day one you'll always rue.
Oh, God! It's May, the month of
and
grace.
we have hoops and garlands.
Every
Whiskey or
It's time to do. Oh, we did that.
We did that one. So that's your Pittsburgh version of what's her name, Julie Andrews.
Oh God,
who's lost her voice?
Totally, yeah.
And
right.
and I'm Richard Burton, or maybe vice versa.
Or you could be Goulet.
No, Robert Goulet. Yeah.
No,
Is
it
he
wasn't.
Still alive? Well, he played Lancelot.
But this
Burton
was sung by.
No, what's her name with her maids?
Oh yes. Well, there, people say we usually end singing.
Yeah, well,
so
we begin. I'll tell you a funny Pittsburgh story about that. I was in my office, and someone called up and said, "Oh, Mr. Sokolowski, one of our gallery attendants, Warhol Museum, there's a celebrity here." And this young person said, "Well, I don't really know." They were whispering. They didn't want, I'm told it's someone, and it's someone English. I said, "Oh, well, fine." So I come down, and it was, oh, God. I could see his face. Blonde. He was in Cabaret. Oh, I can't think of his name now. And he was here locally during the summer to do Camelot. And, oh, damn, I can think of his name. Blonde. But he goes back to, like, some of the early movies, James Bond and all those things. Oh, I'll think of his name. But anyway, and his wife, who was a photographer of some note. And so we were chatting, and I remembered that I said, "You're not going to remember this, but I sat next to you in 1972 at such and such a play in New York." And he said, "Oh, well, I don't remember you. I'm sorry." I said, "Well, I'm sure you didn't." But I said, "I always remembered it because you and your wife were so dazzling looking." Oh, he was so fabulous. I'll get to his name. But across the aisle from me was Celeste Holm.
Ah.
You know, who always plays like this, the fairies and godmothers. Well, she looked like this god-awful battle axe and had the potty mouth of the century. And I was on the aisle, sort of across from her, and she didn't really care about me, but she kept talking to this guy and screaming out, "You blankety-blank honey bag!"
This is before the play started.
Oh, yeah, before the play started. No. And it was a Mart Crowley play, the guy who wrote Boys in the Band. It was like a prequel to Boys in the Band. Father good, but what was his name? But anyway, so we became sort of friends. So then she said, "Oh, well, we're in town for 10 days. I'd love to take your portrait," because she was doing a book on famous portraits of famous people. So we came back and we chatted. And then we had this sort of wonderful email relationship. She said, "Oh, when you come to town in Los Angeles, come and for dinner, you can stay with us." And then she called me because she had gotten on a fundraising campaign for Obama. And she called me up. She said, "Oh, Tommy," she called me Tommy, could you help raise money for Obama in Pittsburgh? And it was great. She was really fun. I didn't make it into the book, though, I must say. So I wrote an email and I said, really, June?
I ended up on the cutting room floor.
But why can't I think of his name?
It'll come. Stop.
Yeah, all right,
it'll come. And blurt it out in about Camelot. 6 minutes or so.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, that was a boring little excursus, wasn't it? Or discursus, but
no.
Just to show you how urbane we are here in Pittsburgh.
Yes, indeedy.
Movie stars just pop in and poop in whenever they want.
Yes, indeedy. Oh, and while you were gone, I was hobnobbing with Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Frances McDormand, John Krasinski.
Woo!
You think you're so high and mighty with your Mick Jagger and Michelle Obama.
Well, I think, and Dr. Ruth and Monica Lewinsky. I think I topped you with that one.
Oh, that's right, Monica Lewinsky. That's a good one.
So now they're making a film here, that bunch?
Yeah, there's 2 movies being made here. I think they're all on one, but there was it's. I actually did. I was on stage.
Oh.
They and I and some other folks did readings.
Oh, okay.
And so there I am doing readings with them.
Oh, they were reading as well.
They were reading. I
see.
was reading. We were reading.
So what were they like?
It's historical readings we were doing,
okay.
and Damon is underwriting this project that has to do with his good now deceased friend, historian Howard Zinn.
Oh, yeah.
And his book, The People's History of the United States.
Yeah, whenever I've seen him on talk shows, and that he seems very grounded.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they were regular, ordinary old people.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's true.
Well, that's true most of the time. They're working stiffs.
Yeah. Yeah, he was exhausted and not feeling well because he'd been working all day. We think, making a movie would be about the most exhausting, boring thing
I've
imaginable.
done documentaries.
Because you sit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sit and wait. And then you do it over. And then you do it over again.
And then you do it again. And you're always waiting for these.
Yeah, but you do it for a minute, and then they take you back into your thing.
I know.
And then
I would lose my mind.
Put makeup again. And
I even lost my mind that night waiting to go on for my part. I was just pacing and thinking, come on. I can't stand it.
Yeah, right.
Really? Okay, so enough of that. So you just got back from New York.
Yes.
Well, lead story, New York Times today, unbelievable.
Which
They're banning, New York is going to ban
the supersized drink.
Not even supersized, anything over 16 ounces.
And they say those bottles, the normal bottle.
So a normal bottle
is more than that. It's like 18 or 20.
Okay, well, this would work.
Well,
this is 12.
Yeah. But the bigger bottles.
The bigger bottles, but they said
$1.75.
Like so, McDonald's and all those places will not be able to offer anything but the small
size.
A small. Any street vendor, any movie theater, any restaurant. And this.
Well, but the only quandary in that is, or conundrum is, do you want to refill? So it doesn't really matter how big your cup is if they refill it 4 times.
If your cup runs
over. Like in a
right.
restaurant.
Right.
But now it's going to be interesting because it'll be curious to see how quickly the manufacturers can ramp up different size bottles.
Which they're going to have to do.
They're going to have to do. And I'm sure the soda companies are going to fight
Well, they're
this.
going nuts. I mean, there's these quotes from hyperventilating, people from the New York Beverage Association and, all this stuff. And but it's Bloomberg's idea, and he said, obesity is a nationwide problem, and all over the United States, public health officials are wringing their hands saying, this is terrible. Well, New York is not about wringing your hands. It's about doing something. I think that's what the public wants a mayor to do. So here's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're downsizing the...
I must admit that when I was there,
hey, man.
it just very often something would come up about the mayor, especially since he's asked for this third term, which, many people were against that. Even though a lot of people like him, and I adore him.
They do, they like him because he's effective.
Right. But he just goes and makes these, it reminds me of Fiorello LaGuardia.
Yeah.
Although Bloomberg
Fiorello was a man of the people. You don't see Bloomberg.
Well, no, Bloomberg is not a man of the people. I mean, they had something. He just bought his 12th house somewhere around the world. But it's his money, so I mean, you know.
But it's interesting when a man with that wealth and obviously that kind of creative energy and ability to utilize power,
right,
and to be a decisive human being, is willing, well, maybe it's his ego, but willing to do what is essentially public service. It's,
right.
you know?
Well, but don't you think people, especially people who've come from families, and if you come from a wealthy family, obviously in his family, his father and grandfather and mother presumably were people of determination and success.
I don't think he came from a wealthy family.
Really? It's all self-made? I don't think he... Well,
hey,
I think he
Jess, look up Bloomberg's wealth, where'd it come from. I don't think so.
I think he grew a lot of it, but I don't think he was a kid on the street. But anyway, I think a lot of it is, if you come from that, the idea of wanting a legacy. Not just as a rich man, but, all right, my father discovered the plane and I made the airliner, something like that. You want to say that you did something.
Right.
You accomplished something. It was very funny. I saw him speak because a friend in New York is head of something called the Public Art Fund, and they do a outdoor exhibition right at City Hall Park, and every year. And the mayor comes out, and he's very good. It was so funny because part of the reception, they had popcorn.
He did not come from money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't come. He was a middle-class kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he kept, while my friend was speaking, before he spoke, just like jamming popcorn down his, give the mayor a hot dog, But he was very articulate and funny, and it was nice.
So, he was a little guy, isn't he?
Well, I don't have to say... No, he's not a short person.
He's 5'6".
Really?
I don't know.
I thought he was... I was trying to think.
Hey, Jess, look up how tall is Bloomberg.
Well, probably somewhere it does have it. They measure every part of his body, and if you run the right website, you can find that out, too.
But speaking of, there was a little item in the paper today about a man who spoke at the Rotary Club here the other day at the Weston William Penn or something. 5'6".
Very good.
I guessed, but he looks 5'6".
How does a 5'6" person look?
He just looks 5'6".
I can just see her, this thing going up and down the streets. Oh, there's that 5'6" person. Go to the other side of the street.
Well, anyway. So this guy who spoke...
She likes erect men, so to speak. Double entendre.
Okay, you'll have the ability to exercise maybe your French here.
All right.
So this guy comes, and the headline is "A Man of Many Talents."
Okay.
And it is mind-blowing what some people's gifts are prodigious and so eclectic, and often I guess somebody who is like that still focuses sort of in one area and just maybe dabbles here and there or blah blah. But this is a guy, I mean, listen to him. I've never heard of him, but here he is. His name, and I don't know if I'll pronounce it right, is Yuval Zaliuk. Okay? He conducted the Toledo Symphony. He also conducted a symphony in Israel. He's guest conducted with the Tokyo Symphony, the Berlin Symphony, the Moscow Chamber Orchestra. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a conductor of some note. He also conducted, his first conducting job was with the Royal Ballet in London, where he met his wife, who was a ballerina. Anyway, he has written more than 1,500 articles for a website which he co-founded called Truth Provider. He created a cookie.
Why not?
Well, he started selling a hard cookie based on his Israeli-French grandmother's recipe for petit gâteau sec.
Yes.
Petit, you say it because you're French. Little
French dry cake.
Little dry cake.
Yeah.
He calls them the almondina. and he built a factory. He didn't just bake the cookies. He built a factory that bakes the cookies in Maumee, how do you pronounce that, Ohio? I drive through it when I'm going to Ann Arbor. Maumee, Ohio. They put out 180,000 cookies a day. Whole Foods sells them.
Okay.
Trader Joe's sells them.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get my head around.
Well, I think what you're saying.
Conductor.
Well, I think
writer, speaker, cookie maker.
Well, I think what you're saying is the fact of if you were someone who has real zeal and wants to take everything, whether it's your major career, he's being a musician conductor, but even when he goes to the point of having what the rest of us might call a hobby, like, oh, you like to make pizzas and I like to make Chinese food or whatever, he does it in such a way that his, what would you say, his ambition, his zeal, his sense of being the consummate baker or whatever, like, if it's so good, well, then why don't we sell it? And I'll find a way to build the factory.
He's just somebody who he's also, by the way, an extremely good photographer. And he just sounds like one of these, what do you call that when somebody, a polymath?
Or autodidact?
Autodidact? Isn't an autodidact somebody who, self-taught. But he's just somebody who there's nothing they can't do.
I'd like to know, can he relax?
Often I think people maybe like that can't.
Yeah, because it's just every waking moment. There's an idea. And
you have to figure that if he's where he's lived and the fact that he probably speaks a number of languages. Sure. He won the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers Award for progressive programming. He tripled the subscriptions at the Toledo Symphony.
Wow.
I mean, it's like...
A mensch.
A mensch. And married to the same woman he met at the ballet 40 years ago. Wow. I mean, just sort of isn't that like a remarkable...
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't it make you feel small and inconsequential?
Like Blair Bloomberg, because he's 5'6"? Back at you, as they say.
Okay. And this quickly, for those of you who don't want to exercise.
Oh, yes, right.
They've actually come out, and they say this is absolutely, no one is poo-pooing this. They're saying it's unbelievably bizarre, but they have analyzed data from 6 rigorous studies of exercise and found that not everybody benefits from exercise. In fact, some people are physically, and I'm not talking about they sprained an ankle. No,
they're just
they're harmed.
Well, don't you remember? I always
10%.
remember Jim Fix. Remember when the very beginning of all the
marathon
health stuff, and this guy used to do marathon things and was skinny as a rail.
Right.
And wrote this book and then dropped dead running.
Right.
At 26, I think it was.
Well, So.
No fat on his body.
For some
blah,
reason,
blah, blah.
they say about 10% of people, when they exercise, they actually, things happen that are related to heart disease. Their blood pressure, insulin levels, cholesterol, triglycerides, all go in the wrong direction.
Right. Well, sort of like they give you, that's a medical problem about a year ago, and I had to have a stress test.
Yeah.
And
which is very stressful.
Well, doctor, this was very interesting because something happened. I fell and broke a finger, which was a minor part of this whole thing. And so therefore they couldn't give me a normal stress test where you get on the treadmill and hold on and
so
then you walk.
So what kind of stress did they put you under?
Well, what they can do is, it's called, I can't remember the word for it, but they chemically induce your body.
Yes,
So you're laying there and they said, "Are you ready?" And they push the thing.
But what does it feel like?
Well, it's sort of like, and just in 2 seconds you feel like,
oh, how awful!
Yeah.
I would rather do the treadmill.
Well, I couldn't hold on, and I would have, because I had broken the finger and I had a muff around it. So it was very funny because there were 2 or 3 people who, for various reasons, couldn't actually physically do it. So they gave them this, and they said, "Well, if it's really bad, we'll pour Coca-Cola down your throat," because some reason or other Coca-Cola mitigates against whatever this stimuli is they give you.
What?
Yeah.
Diane writes, Every maiden itching for... I can't... Oh, it's so hard to get that on tune.
Itching for fun, wholesome or on.
It's time to
do a wretched thing or two.
And make it one you'll always remember.
Well, did you know, it was interesting, we were talking about politicians in Camelot, that the final scene in that, when what's his name? King
Arthur. Yeah, he
discovers he loses his wife, he's going to lose the battle, or he thinks he's going to lose the battle. Don't let it be forgot that once there was a spot for one brief shining moment that was known as Camelot. But anyway, yeah, really. But that was... JFK's favorite thing. He would play it over and over and over.
Right, which is why Jackie picked that up and wanted it to be the...
Oh, you mean, I see what you mean.
The
right, the 1,000 Days of Camouflage. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. I think we should take a break. We haven't, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't. Well, I think we better. When we come back, we're going to get into more artsy-fartsy talk since we have an artsy-fartsy type here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hopefully more the former than the latter.
Yeah, right. More arts than farts coming up.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Paddle Without Pollution, a nonprofit watershed, stewardship, and education organization, is organizing its second cleanup of Pittsburgh's Three Rivers on Saturday, June 9th. After the cleanup, volunteers will enjoy food and entertainment at Point State Park. Our goal this year is to have 100 canoes and kayaks on the Three Rivers. For more information about Paddle Without Pollution or to register for the cleanup, visit www.paddlewithoutpollution.com.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the City Theater, Symphony, History Museum, and the Carnegie Museums. Check out this week's big deal featuring 50% off tickets to the Carnegie Science Center. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's only online deal site where the deals don't expire. bergbargains.com.
Saving energy saves you money. Whether you switch to Energy Star light bulbs, install Energy Star appliances, or add extra insulation. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Yeah, right. You're really on the sharp man.
I get because there's so many.
She is something a phobe. Hey,
no, it's just being a tall woman. Most men.
But you have the great advantage, along with many of the advantages you have and qualities. You're not a tall woman who schlumps.
Schlumps?
Well, very often.
Oh, you mean women, like go like this?
And you know who does that? And I was in her presence since we're star fucking. Mrs. Obama schlumps.
Does she?
Oh yeah. She's always sort of.
Really?
Yeah.
Hunched.
I'm
surprised.
Because she's not that much taller than him, but she is. Especially
is she taller than him?
Oh, yeah.
Not
like by a head.
But barefoot, well, I don't think.
They weren't dancing the samba in their bare feet.
Okay.
Really? What a racist comment to make.
Because she's sick. She's probably racist. What was racist about that?
Bare feet. I'm being silly.
He is? All right. Every time, my son's driving me crazy right now because every time I say anything.
Is he home from school?
Yes. Anytime I say anything with black in it, he says, "You racist." Just to drive me crazy.
Oh, right.
Like I'll say, like one of my cats is black. And I often say, "Ooh, there's my black panther." You're a racist. What? Or, "Oh, has anyone seen my black purse?" You're a racist. Jeez, will you shut up?
Bill Cosby think of
Yeah,
that?
Right.
It would be like one of his shows.
Okay. So,
Artsy.
Thomas.
Yes.
The Three Rivers Arts Festival.
Oh,
now
I hate the Three Rivers Arts Festival.
I knew you would. And listen. Will you now just get off your high horse?
Well, wait a minute, madame.
You can't just. Wait.
Psh. Do you know the history of the Three Rivers Arts Festival?
I have a feeling we're about to learn it.
No, but this is important.
Go ahead.
The Three Rivers Arts Festival, a couple of years ago, had its 50th anniversary.
Wow.
1930, well, whatever, I can't remember the exact date. And it was started by the Women's Committee of the Carnegie Museum of Art, which is a lot of well-heeled men's, either higher-heeled wives. And back in the day, it was very exclusive, etc. And they have...
In other words, there were no Jews on it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Right.
Nor black,
that
nor
would
Asian,
no
nor...
blacks. No, there's just wasps.
Just wasps.
Yes,
but
the right people.
But anyway, they had this idea of having local art that would be put up in a park area during the summer to showcase local art.
To show the great unwashed what...
Well, a little bit of that, but just basically to have it out,
Right.
But it was really serious art by local artists. And the story was told, it was either the first iteration or the second, that it was such a blustery and windy day. And people always say, oh, it's Three Rivers Arts Festival, it's going to rain. Yeah, which has been true for most of the years.
It has.
I've been here. Anyway, but that the pavilion or tent the art was in blew down and the art was flinging into the Monongahela. But anyway, and that I thought was really good. And then supposedly, as I was told secondhand, they started to say, oh, let's have some local merchants providing, local lemonade and local funnel cake.
I was going to say, just because you don't like funnel cake.
Wait.
All right, okay.
And I think that was wonderful.
Oh, you do?
But now, yes.
All right.
But now you go there, and the whole thing, the arts booths, and we'll go on to that in just a second, and the food, it's all carnies. It's not local food from the Strip District or from Bloomfield. It's these carnies who do their...
Who go from city to city.
So they're here, then they go to Akron, then they go to blah, with their dipped, pickles in batter and crap like that. And what's that about? It's not a local, it's just like a car show or the flower show. It's something that these, carnies do. And the art is execrable. It's all knitted... covers for your toilet roll.
It is not.
It is true. Or crying clowns. Or
it's not
the
all.
worst jewelry made by Indonesian gypsies. That's horrible. It's just horrible. I hate. And to be site-specific about it, I live at Gateway Towers.
I know, so you could spit out your window.
No. Well, I don't do that. I'm a gentle and genteel person. But the noise and the smells and the cacophony.
Well, sorry. You choose to live in some area overlooking a public park. Then you cannot complain about cacophony and
a public
smell.
part where a few guys take off their shirts and want to play, frisbee or basketball or and someone snookering their girlfriend or whatever is different from huge semi-trucks with bad country and western bimbo musicians and cheesy, smelly food that was made in Sacramento, California. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I asked. Well, I had thought we could do the rest of the show on this, but I'm not so sure. Now, wait a minute. Now, just wait. Okay, I figured.
Now, wait.
As a matter of fact, I tweeted.
Shut up, and then I'll let you talk.
What a pushy.
I was just in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
No. A number of years ago.
Yeah.
When there was a woman in town, some people know, named Jeannie Perlman, who ran the festival for a long time.
Long time.
And in addition to all that stuff, which the public loves, blah, 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 and they would get, as I was told, big monies from Coca-Cola and whatever to, put their product up, and obviously it was advertising. But there would always be... in addition, I think, to better music, but also serious art. There would be installations that would literally be commissioned for the fair, so that in addition to buying your shell jewelry and whatever, you could see something. Now, there's almost nothing. Well, you go, I'll pay you $1 for every shell necklace you find, and you'll be a rich woman, Jess.
I've never even seen a shell necklace. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like abalone shells covered with Swarovski crystals.
Oh, come on.
Let's take a field trip.
Okay, now here, you listen.
Well, next week's show, we can do it on site.
We can go from booth to booth and, oh my God.
And I will rant and you will say, oh, I'll buy that. Don't you want a beret shaped Ben Gurion or something? Would be something that funny would happen.
I will admit that most of the stuff
is dreck.
Is crap, right. Most of it is crap. I can't believe what crap it is. But every once in a while, I think there's something lovely. And there's one in particular. This woman has been there for the last 3 years. I can't afford what she has. I can't imagine anybody can.
No, I will give you that. There are one or two.
She weaves the most glorious baskets that are works of art. They are sculpture.
Fair enough.
Sculpture. And every year I go there and I look at them and I want them and I say, oh, every year I'll look at one of the smaller ones thinking maybe, and I'll say, how much is this?
Well, maybe if we go on
it's like $1,000. Well, who would? It's $1,500.
You bring up the interesting point, which is people go for an outing, and they and a lot of people have, middle class, terrible taste, but that's fine. What you put in your house, I've always said what you put in your house, that's fine. But the really serious artists are going to say, my work is worth more than that. I don't want to put my art in a tent that may fly off into the Monongahela River. People who really seriously want to buy a bag or something like that probably know the galleries I show with in my home city, or I'm online, and don't want to be next to the thing.
I don't know why. I can't imagine this woman. I guess if she just sells one in a whole, but that she even bothers, because her stuff is so much pricier than anything else, and it's so beautiful.
Because you think most, and maybe this is unfair. I will admit it, but that maybe the people who would like something like this, you're in the minority, wouldn't go there expecting that.
No,
they'd go to a really fine crafts gallery or a boutique piece that. No longer
I tell myself every year I'm going to treat myself to one of those things. I'm going to. Do you
remember what the craftsperson's name is?
No, and I got her and then I can't. She's a little Asian woman. And she sits there amidst this glorious. There's maybe like 7 or 8 pieces. There's or 8 or 9. Some of them are these huge things that you would that would command a room. You would put it.
So you would sculpture.
It's something that you would want to display.
Right.
You wouldn't want to use it. You would display this as this marvelous.
So she weaves the tendrils of the young wise bamboo. No, I meant that as a compliment.
Yes, no, but I'm afraid she won't be there this year. I thought this year maybe I would splurge. Okay.
I will.
But there is.
I'll throw you a fin towards a bag.
There is a juried festival.
Yes, there is. Yes.
And that would be more to your liking. It says here there's 79 works that will be at the juried visual art exhibition. No?
Yes.
You don't think that they bring in
I will have to
stuff?
say, they have very good people. The one who is what's her name? Who is the photography curator at the Carnegie Museum of Art. I can't think of her name now. Michael Olenek from the Mattress Factory. I can't remember the third person.
Murray Horn,
who is the
Linda
art curator.
Benedict Jones.
That's what I was thinking of. So they're very smart and have good taste.
Yes, they do.
But if someone puts a rotten tomato in front of you, you may have good taste. But if you have nothing else to pick.
God, what?
No, I'm serious. Listen, I've done, my darling, these kinds of shows more than I would want.
Okay.
And every time, because I read Mary Thomas's piece, and the blurbs that we've all written, this year there's been a great diversity of style and craft. This shows that America, in the middle years of the 21st century, is open to all sorts of artistic impulse. And we felt that in this show, it would be important to have a diversity, like the diversity that is America, that is Western Pennsylvania. So we hope that our visitors to the exhibition will feel this explosion of cultural ethos.
Very well. You can do that in your sleep.
Exactly. And that means there was a lot of different shit here, and we put it together, and there is no one sort of motif.
But here is something I found that is going on because of the festival.
Yes.
That I think looks absolutely fascinating.
Okay.
And you, living downtown, can easily just fall out of your newly varnished floored penthouse.
Rather than fall on my newly varnished floor, stick to it. Yes, what is this?
It's all these documentaries.
I noticed that. Yeah, very interesting.
You tell me if these
they're
don't
all
sound
about
amazing, about artists doing their
exactly.
art. Now, let's just run through this. And if you guys have, this sounds like something you can do on Saturday, tonight. There's one.
Well, every night,
No, Friday night.
And they're all going to be shown at the Harris Theater downtown.
Oh, my God. There's one after the other. There's one on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Listen to some of these. Tell us about Gerhard Richter.
Gerhard Richter is probably the equivalent in Europe to Andy Warhol. Came up from 1960s, was born in Eastern Europe, and
still alive. 79, it says here.
And he makes, interestingly, simultaneously, figurative works, and then he makes works that are these blurry abstractions that he makes by taking a, what do you call those things?
Squeegee.
Squeegee, right. And taking all the colors that he sort of glubs on the painting and then springing it across. And then
he scrapes off. He
rubs them and scrapes off. And there are these
lambent
colors that are just so amazingly beautiful.
Well, here's what it says, that he's very shy, doesn't like to talk. But he did allow this filmmaker to, as they said, do a fly on the wall, watch him do his stuff. And so that, if you at all interested,
I've heard friends who've seen it in New York said it was really wonderful documentary.
Then, a lot of Pittsburghers know Dale Chihuly.
The glass blower, yeah.
Because there was a huge installation at Phipps.
About 3, 4, or 5 years ago.
That was amazing and wondrous.
And he only has one eye.
Does he really?
Yeah, he wears a patch. He looks like one of these old pirates. He's quite a bizarre character.
Do you like his work? You think it's a little overdone and it's gotten too...
I think those installations, he's done many of them. This was one that was done, as Lynn said, in the botanical gardens, in the Phipps Conservatory, and in the midst of these huge succulents and things like that, there'd be these spears of colored glass.
Or there'd be like in one of the... there'd be a pool in the room, and then there'd be like...
Well, he started really with these forms
floating. It was just
that looked like big shells, like of a mollusk or something, and then these balls inside, but beautiful colors. He's very talented, but he's... come to my house and I want a blue one, and he'll make one.
Yeah, in danger of
already he's
degrading his work.
Yeah. But he does. I remember in Las Vegas, he did a chandelier for the Bellagio Hotel. That when you come in, that is spectacular beyond belief.
Well, when I drove from Milwaukee up to Green Bay a few weeks ago, there is a large, amazing, beautiful, huge building housing some, insurance company, I think, in the middle of nowhere. And the building itself, you almost drive off the road because you want to stop and look. It was my sister who, doing that same drive, saw what looked like a chuli hanging in the midst of it, inside, in the vestibule.
A
huge thing. Yeah. And in fact, that's true. There's 2 of them in there, and
they're very beautiful.
Glorious.
They're very appealing.
Just looks glorious. So anyway, one of the films that's showing Saturday at the Harris is an hour long, and it looks at his how he pulls together the natural world, as he did at Phipps, and his sort of fantasy visions.
Well, and also the other interesting thing is, and this is not to say painting is easy, but standing like Richter or anyone else does and painting on a canvas is one thing, but to make these sculptures, they're dealing with scorchingly hot liquid.
But he doesn't do it all.
Well, he does.
He has a whole...
No, he has assistants, but still, he at times picks up and you have like a long pipe. which you
Right.
turn on this glob of molten glass,
Right.
and then you blow into it, and then you dip it again. In fact, here's a commercial. Those of you who've never seen glass blowing, the Pittsburgh Glass Center
Yes.
out on Penn Avenue towards East Liberty gives not only classes but demonstrations.
Yes.
I'd highly recommend.
Well, you know
it.
where
It's
else they
quite
do
interesting.
demonstrations? I believe at the Arts Festival. I know they
glass
do at
blowing?
the Shady Side.
Oh, really?
Not the
Oh.
Shady Side, the Mellon Park, a fair in the
Oh, I
park.
see.
There's always a glass blow.
That I've never seen it,
Okay.
but you may be right.
Here's another one. Marcel Aufoul
Awful, yes, the filmmaker.
sat down with another filmmaker, Jean-Luc Godard.
Good eye, yeah.
And this is the two of them talking for 44 minutes. And it says here it is intimate, unusual, and sometimes contentious. So
Well-
anybody who's interested in those filmmakers
Oh, in French film,
would
and-
just
yeah.
love that. Okay, this is all because whoever put this together, I thank them because, I mean,
No,
you
that's
could go
very thoughtful.
nuts.
You learned something, yeah.
Here's one. It's just a 30-minute one airing on Saturday. It has no narration, no interviews, nothing. It's just 30 minutes where you look at these two Swiss artists, Peter Fischli and David Weiss.
Yes.
And they construct these, like Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, have you ever seen it?
No, but I'd
what's
love
it called?
to.
Something like "This Is the Way the World Is" or some title like
The
that.
way things go.
What it is basically is a domino effect, and for 30 minutes. It's like, as you say, Rube Goldberg. They start out, I can't remember.
They
the first
start
time.
in one
That's
thing
like with
begets
a ball,
another. Yeah.
And then the ball
Well, I
knocks
think
over
I've
the
seen
bottle
it.
of water, and the water falls into a dish, which then crashes. But it is so like
Brilliant.
poetic. I mean, you almost think there's an animal or something. It is so incredibly
See,
funny.
I would like to see that.
It's spectacular.
That's airing on Saturday
And sadly,
at 7:45.
one of them, I can't remember, it's Vice, officially or Vice died just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
But I bet more museums all around the world bought that video for their collections because it's so charming and clever. It's sort of, how did they do that? You know? But it's wonderful. I would say it probably is one of the great works of visual art of the 80s. 80s, I think. Early 90s, I can't remember.
Immediately after that wondrous thing, another 90-minute documentary shows, which shows 3 contemporary American artists and a master printer, and they explain the dynamic sequences of social reality and protest. That sounds fascinating,
Who are the
too.
artists, do they say?
Among the wide range of artists on display are Rembrandt, Goya, Daumier, Kollwitz, Dix, Massaril, Grosz, Groper, and Picasso. I guess they're talking about the
No,
and
but they said it was
and they say art is
artists.
I know, but it's 3 American artists and a printer
talk
talking
about-
about
they talk
these
about historical,
art
yeah.
as the permanent revolution.
Yeah.
Art as revolution. That would be
That'd be
fascinating.
very interesting,
Okay.
yeah. So go on down to the Harris,
And then some of these repeat then throughout the week.
the festival. Right?
And here's one that seems fascinating called about the Eames. that-
The furniture makers and architects. Well, designers.
They
Charles
call him
Eames and-
the architect and the painter. The husband and wife team. I didn't know there was the husband and wife team? Charles and Ray Eames? It's not the Eames we're talking about?
Yeah, it
the
is.
chair?
Oh, Ray, I'm going to sound totally stupid. I thought
Widely
Ray was
regarded as America's
man.
most important designers, there's 2 of them. Their personal lives and influence on significant events
Oh, yeah.
in American
No.
life. James Franco narrates this thing about the 2 of them.
Well, that's interesting, given what you were saying about the Cookie Man before. James Franco seems like
One of those
has
people
to do
too.
everything.
What is with him?
And he seems, everything
he's
I've
very
read,
capable.
he's good.
Smart as blazes.
The only was, it was very funny, and the Times played this up. I forgot, what was the school? Because he is going to Yale. And
He's going to
NYU
he's going
and-
to Yale.
and
He's
Columbia.
going to
And I think
Columbia.
Columbia was the place where he got his D.
NYU. And someone said enough of
Because
this.
no.
Wait.
But what it was is that one, because I guess of his acting career or something, he had to miss a lot of classes, and that's why he got a D. But people say his papers are good. I mean, they may not be good as a professional, but they would be an A+ student in college.
So he's just brilliant.
It seems.
And then he's doing films, and I mean, while he was doing
art shows, literally physical art shows.
While he was doing that very difficult film from the point of view of an actor, both physically, mentally, the one with the guy getting his hand caught while rock climbing. He was enrolled at something like 4 universities,
I think
getting
Yale is PhD degree. NYU, I think, is in the writing program. I can't remember what Columbia is.
I know. I don't. It's amazing.
And from what I knew, someone who had met him, and they said he was really sort of.
He's a nice person.
Yeah, not bad.
That's what I've been told.
He's very good looking and
can do it all. Except, you know what he can't do?
What?
Host the Academy Awards.
No, he was terrible at that. He was terrible at that.
It was embarrassing.
Well, because you know what's interesting, he doesn't have that kind of
charisma.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't. He's too cool for.
Cool, or like he's
too laid back. There's not enough energy there.
Well, or he needs a role. Like if I'm playing Louis XIII. I'm Louis XIII, whereas if I'm Tom Sokolowski standing there,
right.
I might be embarrassed. Even though I'm a movie actor, I might be embarrassed. Like, what's a
See, that's funny because even though I trained to be an actress, I am the opposite. I felt uncomfortable inhabiting a role and realized that I can satisfy my performative
things
as me. The only thing I could do it as me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I inhabit a role. I felt always a pretender. And you can't be a pretender, not at least the way I learned.
No, right. You have to become the role.
You have to literally inhabit. And I just couldn't let go of myself. I have such a strong self. I couldn't let go. But that also is a way of saying I'm self-conscious.
True.
Right?
True.
I remember a friend, very harsh friend, and I was a kid. I was in high school or something, and I was, wringing my hands and saying, "Oh, I just am afraid of, doing that because, people will say this or that." And I remember she looked at me with such, anger, and said, "Why do you think that everybody is always looking at you?" And that's a good put down to somebody who's self-conscious.
Oh, it is.
Because, hey, what do you think? Everybody is,
but
constantly...
if you are self-conscious, you presume that if someone just glances at you, other than, there's woman walking towards me, it's because they're saying, "Oh, God, who's that woman? She looks bad today." And that's because you may feel bad or whatever, and you're projecting onto that other person.
Right, I don't know. So here's another film, Stolen Art. Says here that in 1978 in New York City, there was a Czech artist who was not known who held an exhibit called Stolen Art, which featured paintings by Rembrandt, Van Gogh. If you say that, if I were to say Van Gogh, would
90% of the world says Van Gogh.
Is that okay?
Well,
how do you say it?
Well, Van Gogh, because that's how he should.
Van Gogh.
Actually, it's like it really should be Dutch friends of Lloyd, like Van Gogh.
I know it. Van Gogh.
My favorite one is you've had, I'm sure, as many of our listeners have, what we call Gouda cheese, but it really is Gouda cheese.
Is it
Gouda?
Or just the other day, yesterday, in fact, I went into a lovely little joint in Lawrenceville and ordered what is their wonderful sandwich, their gyro, I think is how it's properly pronounced.
Gyros, yeah.
But I asked for a gyro.
All right, yes, exactly. Well,
because I didn't. I mean, so are you? Do you think it's affected when you?
No, that's.
I'll have your hero. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, the point. I mean, let's put it this way. I find very interesting. The gyro hero is a really good one. Is that if you don't know, fine, and they want to sell you a sandwich, and that's all that matters. But how even Greek people selling gyro sandwiches will say gyro.
Because that's how.
Well, and why offend the customer?
That's right. That's right.
But if you know the right way to say it the right way. right way.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it and sneer, but...
But I just said gyro because I thought most people would ask for a gyro. Yeah. And I'm not sure when I say hero if I'm even saying it correctly.
Well, it's very funny. As you may remember, this, I guess it continues through the end of the festival. The Pittsburgh Cultural Trust has been doing a 3-month-long, I believe.
Look at this!
What?
We interrupt!
What? Oh.
The Defense of Marriage Act has been declared friggin' constitutional by a federal appeals court. This is a law that denies a host of federal benefits to gay married couples. They said, the First Circuit Court of Appeals said, hey, it clearly is unconstitutional. The law was passed in 1996. Bill Clinton was president. He signed it when it looked like Hawaii would legalize gay marriage. And since then, as you know, many states have. So the appeals court agreed with a lower court judge who ruled in 2010 that the law is unconstitutional because it interferes with the right of a state to define marriage and denies married gay couples federal benefits given to heterosexual married couples. So it's just another nail in the coffin.
Well, isn't if I'm mistaken, the Supreme Court, it's on their agenda for this sitting of the court? I believe so.
Yeah, I think they do have a gay rights.
So that this is important, but ultimately, immediately people are going to be writing appeals to the Supreme Court.
So since DOMA, many states, of course, more states have instituted constitutional bans on gay marriage than have approved gay marriage. So, I mean, we still have...
Yeah, right.
In fact, if this appeals court decision says, hey, DOMA is unconstitutional because you're interfering with the state's right.
Right, exactly. That's the big
That's
issue.
not necessarily great because most states
Right. No, exactly.
will not approve gay marriage.
Well, that's where some of the Republicans have been clever, and they don't come out and saying like we hate gay marriage, but like, well, the state should decide.
Yes,
very
but you realize that if you were to allow the states to have decided whether or not black people could vote, or whether or not mixed race, marriages were okay, there'd still be states.
Sure.
Where,
to be fair, there are still issues that are not necessarily very democratic. In the small d sense of the word, that states vote against.
But it was the federal government and or the Supreme Court, the judiciary or the feds, that generally need to break down
or if
these
we really
kinds of...
get, what do you call it, we've never done one in my time, has been, constitutional amendment. And but that takes, as we all know, with Roe versus Wade, that sort of went and ultimately never happened. But
President Barack Obama announced last year that his government, the U.S. government, would no longer defend the constitutionality of the law. And so immediately, of course, John Boehner convened something called the Bipartisan Legal Advisory Group to defend this outrageous attempt to deny equal protection. It's obvious.
That's of course what it is. Of course.
To an entire segment of American citizens.
Well, good. That's a wonderful upbeat thing. For
yes,
the end
and I want to thank Jared Day, Daily News Nuggets, our CMU prof, for alerting us to that. Thank you so very much. DOMA ruled unconstitutional by federal appeals court. Yay. We got to take a final break here. Be back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
Gustavo and Vella wants to thank all of southwestern Pennsylvania, the USA, and the world for helping to liberate his native country of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea has suffered 43 years of dictatorship, 43 years of human rights abuses, 43 years of corruption, and 43 years of kleptocracy. Even with $5 billion in oil revenue in 2011, the 700,000 citizens of Equatorial Guinea earn less than $2 per day. A proud Mount Lebanon resident, please help Gustavo and Vella usher in the 21st century by allowing freedom, democracy, and socioeconomic prosperity by the rule of law for the next 43 years and beyond. Email him at presidentandvella@yahoo.com to help free Equatorial Guinea.
Pittsburgh City Paper with the Three Rivers Arts Festival pullout is available now. Pick up one today for The Cult, Layla Hathaway, Global Navigators, and Joe Walsh. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
All righty, we're back for a few minutes. Can I do this? Can I head back to that?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So, because you hadn't heard of this. So, in 1978, in New York City, this Czech unknown artist had a show called Stolen Art, in which he had Van Gogh.
That's what we got.
And the other great.
So he had recovered these paintings?
No, they were all reproduced with astonishing accuracy. However, a private collector asserted, wait a minute. You see that painting right there? That's stolen. That was whatever. It was alleged that it was stolen.
And not a reproduction.
And the artist disappeared. Years later, a filmmaker, Simon Backus, looks at the scandal created by this outlaw artist.
Did it say what his name was?
The artist?
Yes.
Pavel Novak, a Czech artist. And that's an hour-long documentary, which, might be interesting. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, avoid the...
you know what they would say in Latin?
The laughing,
avoid the sun and go to
crying clowns.
Go to the parergo, like the little extra add-ons. Avoid the main thing, but go to these side things.
Go to the jury show. Yeah. Go to the... Well, they've already told you which things won and stuff.
If we go along with New York, avoid the large sweetened drinks.
That's right.
Yeah, see? So, and you walk a bit, so that's good for your midsection.
Yeah, because if you look at it, you can
the First Lady would love you.
Yeah.
Because she's very big, even though she slumps down.
I wonder why she does that. That's surprising.
Well, many tall women, because they don't want their man to sort of... They don't like to tower over their man.
But I think increasingly you see men perfectly comfortably, and the women with them, towering. The women towering over them. Well, but this goes back to your little anecdote about acting. Is it the men who are demanding that they wear flats, or is it the women not wanting to look like they're Amazons? I have a story I tell of when I was... I would do the cerebral palsy telethon when Channel 4 aired it.
So you were the Jerry Lewis.
Yes, I was.
What do you do for my kids? I used to love watching the very end because he had no voice anymore.
I'll tell you, that's a workout.
Yeah.
That is. That's tough to do.
Didn't they finally kick him out?
I believe so.
Which was sort of awful after 30 years.
I mean, you can't even look at him. But I co-hosted with Joe DiNardo. Do you remember him?
Oh, I know who that is.
He was the weather guy, right. So, Joe DiNardo is shorter than I. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but he's shorter than me. And it was the day before the telethon, and I was asked by the producer, What shoes are you wearing tomorrow? And
I haven't picked my frock yet.
Yeah, right. I remember thinking, what? Yeah. And then I said, I don't know. And she said, well, why don't you wear, flats? I think she said they're more comfortable and blah, blah, blah. And then she just let it out. She said, because it looks, you and Joe, it'll look so much better on a 2-shot if you,
and he doesn't
are not
look like a shrimp.
Right. If he doesn't look like a shrimp. That's if you're not taller than him.
That's right.
And I don't remember getting totally upset, but I remember thinking, what crap? I mean, because, what do you mean it'll look better on a 2-shot? If it were the reverse, if Joe had been taller than me, they wouldn't say it would look better on a 2-shot.
Wear high heels.
Right, exactly. So what was uncomfortable then, and I don't think it would be the case now, I hope, is that the man was supposed to be taller.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, what's interesting...
I wore heels, by the way.
Ooh, you got one. No. Well, actually, I say this here. I often use it in this one lecture I give, which is the original definition of leader meant the tallest person in the group.
I remember you said that.
Because that person, if there was like a gaggle of 200 people with their spears or whatever,
they could be seen.
The leader could be seen. And the leader meant the most important. So therefore...
Well, they say now. Generally, I don't know if it's always been the case, but the tallest candidate wins the presidency.
Is that true? Well, Clinton was quite tall. George W. I don't think is particularly tall.
Who do you run against? Gore? I think they were the same.
Gore's a big guy, isn't he?
Well, he's big horizontally.
No, but he's 6-something.
I don't know. Check it out. Jess. Huh? No.
What shrimpy presidents have we had?
Well, I think, generally speaking, taller wins because it's perceived as...
Yeah. He towers over.
Yeah.
Metaphorically as well as
right, exactly.
literally.
I mean, there's a presence there.
A presence, right, exactly.
All right.
Well, we often use that thing, sadly enough, because it's like the glitz. Just like on TV, they always pick beautiful people like Lynn. When do you see... No, well, you are a very handsome woman. But when have you seen an ugly man or a truly ugly woman on news? I mean, I'm not saying just maybe not dashing, but ugly.
Ugly? No.
Yeah, no.
As they say, they have a face for radio.
Well, right. Because I was just thinking, what was that guy's name? And I don't think he's particularly great, who took over from Meet the Press, for all those famous...
Oh, yeah.
Scott, what's his name?
Scott Pelley? What are you talking about? No, the guy who died was a homely man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, what was his name? He was
Russert. Yeah. Russert. I thought he was
he was a
homely man.
But this other guy, though, was just he looked like a male model, like a Marlboro man.
Oh, it might be Scott Pelley.
Maybe it is Scott Pelley. Or now George Stephanopoulos, although he's a midget.
Oh, I bet he doesn't even get to the 5'6".
Oh,
no, I bet
remember
he's about
seeing him once at a show that was called Too Jewish at the Jewish Museum, and there he was, really short, this was at the height of his, West Wing.
Oh, there's a pun, at the height?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Wearing lavender biking shorts.
George Stephanopoulos in lavender biking shorts?
Well, he's a nice-looking man.
He's a handsome man. Yeah, nice. Yeah, not... Well, Jess is coming up with nothing, and anyway, the show's over.
Yes, exactly. To all short men, sorry. To all towering women, Amazons were wonderful, but remember, they only had one breast.
What?
Oh, yes. What Amazon did, according to classical mythology, was that in order to be better archers, they would cut off the breast.
They cut off their breasts. So...
Yeah. That's...
Really?
Oh, yes. That's mythological, but I mean...
Wow.
That's a good thing to end on, isn't it? Leaves you... I bet you won't see that at the Three Rivers Arts Festival.
And I bet you won't see Tom Sokolowski at the...
Touché. Happy day, Pittsburgh.
Happy day.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.